Sometimes when your baby looks away, it is not rejection, it is communication, and it may be incredibly important today. A parent sees a turned head and worries something is wrong. The baby may actually be saying, "I need help." That tiny glance away can mean your baby's overloaded, thinking, resetting, or trying to stay connected without getting overwhelmed. And once you understand that signal, everyday play changes. You stop chasing eye contact and start reading your baby gently. What looks like disengagement can be self-protection. What feels like distance can be your baby working hard to participate. This matters most in the moments parents rarely question: peekaboo, smiling, sing-song voices, the silly games that seem effortless. Because play is not entertainment for babies, it is where their nervous system learns whether excitement feels safe or exhausting. Babies are not miniature adults with unlimited social energy. Their brains are still wiring the brakes, not only the gas. So when your baby studies the wall, the lamp, or your shoulder, something meaningful may be happening under that silence. They may be calming themselves before they lose control. They may be protecting the connection by preventing too much stimulation. That is the hidden twist many parents miss. Looking away can be regulation, not disinterest, and not failure at all. When adults feel overstimulated, they check their phones, stare outside, or grab coffee. Babies cannot do that, so they avert. Averting their gaze is often a baby's built-in exit ramp. It lowers incoming intensity while keeping the relationship nearby. That matters because babies experience your face as powerful information. Expression, voice, movement, smell, timing, all of it lands hard. Even a loving, playful face can become too much when your baby is tired, hungry, excited, or still learning fast. In those moments, looking away is not shutting you out. It is your baby's version of, "Give me 1 second." This is especially common during the first year, when the brain is building pathways for attention, emotion, and social connection. Neuroscientists sometimes talk about regulation like a dance. One partner speeds up, the other slows down, and balance returns again. With babies, that dance is mostly shared. They borrow your calm, your pace, your facial softness until they can recover. But before they borrow your calm, they often create space. That space might mean glancing away, squirming, or fussing briefly. Here is what surprises many loving parents. The goal of play is not non-stop engagement. The goal is manageable engagement. Healthy interaction with a baby has rhythm. There is contact, then pause, then contact again, and that pattern builds trust. That back and forth is sometimes called serve and return. Your baby signals, you respond, then your baby responds back. But the return is not always a smile. Sometimes the return is turning away because the system needs a reset. If you miss that meaning, you may lean in harder. Louder voice, closer face, faster hands, more stimulation exactly then. And that is when a playful moment can unravel. A baby who needed relief now has to work even harder. Sometimes parents read this as mixed signals. But babies are not being confusing. They're being beautifully honest with limitations. Their honesty just comes in body language, not words. And if you learn that language, your confidence changes almost immediately. Instead of wondering why your baby broke eye contact, you start asking, what are they regulating in this moment exactly? That one question can soften your whole approach. It turns performance into connection and pressure into partnership with your baby. You may notice this most during face-to-face play. Smiles build, energy rises, then your baby studies something else. That something else might look random to you, but it often functions like an emotional dimmer switch for the brain. Babies are constantly sorting sensation. Your eyes, your voice, the room, their body, hunger, temperature, even memory, everything matters too. So when they look away, they may be filtering. Not ignoring you, but organizing themselves enough to be with you. This is one reason emotionally safe parenting can look surprisingly quiet. Not absent, not passive, but deeply attuned to timing. A timed pause can be as nurturing as a cuddle. Sometimes the kindest response is giving the nervous system room. And here is where parents often feel relief. You do not need to entertain constantly to build attachment with baby. Attachment grows through repeated experiences of being noticed accurately, not perfectly, not instantly, but accurately enough to feel safe inside. When your baby looks away and you're respected, you teach something enormous. You teach your signals change what happens. That lesson becomes emotional safety in its earliest form. My body matters here. My limits matter here. I am understood. And emotional safety is not a fluffy idea. It shapes stress patterns, attention, sleep, and the way connection feels later. When babies feel overwhelmed without relief, stress hormones can stay elevated longer. Cortisol is helpful briefly, but heavy when chronic. When babies feel helped back down, the message is different. Big feelings happen, and recovery is possible with another person. That is why co-regulation matters before self-regulation. Babies first learn calm between brains before they manage it alone. Looking away during play can be part of that process. It can be the bridge between rising excitement and balance. If you respond well, the interaction often resumes naturally. Seconds later, your baby may glance back, smile, or babble again. That return is important because it shows the pause worked. Your baby did not disconnect from you. They recovered beautifully. And this creates a powerful reframe for parents. The pause is not the problem. Missing the pause is usually harder. Now think about babies who turn away while feeding, diaper changes, or bedtime cuddles. The meaning can shift, but matters. During feeding, a turned head may mean fullness, slower pacing, gas discomfort, distraction, or a need for space right then. During diaper changes, it may mean vulnerability. Your baby's exposed, physically handled, and managing sensations they cannot predict yet. At bedtime, looking away can mean the day was huge. Sleep requires letting go, and letting go takes trust too. In every setting, the same deeper question helps. Is my baby moving away from me or moving toward regulation here? That question keeps you curious instead of reactive. Curiosity is one of the most protective tools a parent can bring. Because babies feel the difference between being managed and being understood, even before language, that difference shapes the relationship deeply. A baby whose signals are respected does not become needy. They often become freer to explore because safety lowers strain. This is one reason secure attachment and independence are not opposites. Real security becomes the launchpad for healthy separation later. When babies trust that overwhelm will be noticed, they spend less energy defending themselves. More energy becomes available for growth. That includes memory, attention, emotional range, and even social joy. Calm is not only comfort, it is fuel for learning. So if your baby looks away during a game, pause before performing. See if softness works better than intensity today. You can lower your voice, relax your face, slow your hands, or simply wait. Often that tiny adjustment changes everything. Waiting can feel hard for adults. Silence makes us think we lost the connection when sometimes we are protecting it. And if your baby turns back toward you, you just witnessed repair. That is one of the deepest attachment builders. Repair matters because no parent stays perfectly matched. We all miss cues. Strong attachment grows through recovery, not perfection alone. That is such a relief, especially in a culture pushing performance parenting. Your baby does not need a nonstop expert. They need someone willing to notice, adjust, and reconnect. Someone who can say, with actions, I am listening to you. Sometimes looking away also protects babies from emotional intensity in us. Not only loudness, but urgency, anxiety, or over-eagerness. A loving parent can still feel intense to a baby. Fast smiles, searching eyes, repeated prompts, all can raise pressure. That does not mean your love is harmful. It means your baby sometimes needs that love delivered in smaller doses. Think of sunlight through a window. Warm light nourishes, but too much all at once can still make you squint. Babies squint emotionally before they have language for it. Looking away is one beautiful, primitive, protective gesture they use often. When you recognize that gesture, your baby may not cry as hard. You caught the whisper before it became shouting. That is another hidden meaning here. Averted gaze is often an early cue, not the final breakdown of the moment. Parents who learn early cues often feel calmer themselves. Instead of scrambling after crying starts, they notice the build first. And your calm matters more than perfect technique. Babies read nervous systems long before they understand routines or explanations verbally. This is why a gentle pause can help sleep, crying, and play. Regulation patterns travel across the whole day, too. The baby who looks away during morning play is teaching you something useful for afternoon fussiness and bedtime winding down. Sometimes the message is, slow me down. Sometimes it is, simplify this. Sometimes it is, stay close without adding more. That last one can be especially powerful. Babies often want connection and reduced stimulation at the very same time, too. Adults struggle with that idea because we confuse closeness with more input. Babies often experience closeness as steadiness instead sometimes. Steadiness might mean a calm face, a slower song, a hand on the chest, or breathing together quietly for a moment. These small responses help release oxytocin, the bonding chemical people talk about. But emotionally, it simply feels like relief inside. And relief is deeply educational for an infant brain. It teaches, connection helps me come back to myself again safely. That lesson becomes part of your baby's emotional map. Not a memory in words, but a memory in patterns inside. Later, those patterns influence frustration tolerance, trust, and how your child handles closeness during stress or conflict with other people. So yes, something as small as looking away during play can hold surprisingly big meaning for development over the years. But do not hear pressure in that. You are not supposed to decode every glance perfectly, every single time either. The real goal is becoming more available, not more vigilant, more responsive, not more anxious, more present, not more anxious, more present, not more performative. And if you have ever pushed a little too hard in play, welcome to being human. Repair still changes everything. You can soften your face, take a breath, and say less. Your baby does not need an apology speech today. They need the feeling of your adjustment. They need the shift from pressure to safety, from pursuit to partnership again. That is one of the most beautiful truths in parenting. Babies are changed by what you do next with them. So the next time your baby looks away, resist the instant story that connection has been lost between you both. Maybe your baby is saying, I trust this enough to pause. I believe you will still be here for me. Maybe they are saying, I want more, but slower. Maybe they are saying, help me stay with this right now. Maybe they are saying something even deeper. Love me in the size I can handle, not the size you feel. And if that lands in your chest a little, it is because many adults needed that kind of love too. Maybe that is why this topic feels bigger than baby play. It touches old stories about being overwhelming or ignored. Your baby gives you a new chance with those stories. Not to be perfect, but to practice gentler attunement daily. Each respectful pause says, I do not need to force connection. I can trust rhythm, signals, and return between us. That trust changes the emotional climate of your home. Less chasing, less guessing, more observing, more settling, more genuine closeness. And over time, your baby learns something steady and powerful. I can move away a little and love stays near. That is the beginning of secure connection. Not constant fusion, but safe movement. Outward, inward, back and forth with you. So when your baby looks away during play, you may be witnessing intelligence, not withdrawal, wisdom, not distance from you. You may be watching a tiny human protect connection by regulating it. That is not a small thing at all. It is one of the earliest emotional skills your baby can show, and your response helps shape what comes next. Sometimes the best play is not bigger, brighter, or longer. Sometimes the best play is knowing exactly when to soften. Because in that softening, your baby does not lose you. They find a version of you their body can absorb. And that version, calm, flexible, and attuned, becomes home inside them, long after the toy is forgotten for the day. So if your baby looks away today, breathe first. The connection may not be ending. It may be growing wiser.